Why can't avoidants forget an empath's energy after they pull away? They walk away like nothing happened, cold, distant, in control, as if they've deleted every trace of you from their mind. But have you ever noticed how they linger? How they circle back in silence, watching stories, revisiting memories, or just showing up in ways that make no sense? It's not the words they miss, it's not even the person, it's the energy, that calm, intuitive presence that didn't demand or chase, it understood. The peace they felt around you wasn't ordinary, it was regulation, balance, safety, things an avoidant has spent their whole life running from but also secretly craving, because when an empath connects, it's not surface level, it's not attraction, it's energetic recognition, soul to soul. An empath doesn't just hear what you say, they feel what you don't, and for an avoidant who's used to walls, that kind of emotional depth hits differently. It awakens something they've buried under layers of independence and control. They tell themselves they needed space, but deep down they're haunted by how your silence feels nothing like anyone else's. You see, they can replace attention, but they can't replace energy, because what you gave wasn't performance, it was presence. And when that presence disappears, the emptiness becomes unbearable. They start remembering the warmth behind your calm voice, the peace in your patience, the quiet comfort that never demanded but always understood. That's why they keep coming back. Not always physically, but energetically, emotionally, spiritually, because somewhere between distance and denial, they realize you weren't just a person in their story, you were a mirror to their soul. In this video we're going to uncover why avoidants can't truly forget an empath's energy, the real psychological and emotional reasons behind it, the unspoken bonds that linger long after silence, and the invisible pull that even the most detached hearts can't escape. The first reason avoidants can't forget an empath's energy is simple: you made them feel something they couldn't control. Avoidants spend years perfecting emotional control. They build invisible walls around their hearts, not out of arrogance, but out of fear. Fear of being consumed by emotions they don't understand. Fear of losing themselves in vulnerability. So they learn to stay detached. They replace connection with logic, warmth with distance, and depth with distraction. They tell themselves they don't need love, only stability. They master the art of staying in control. But when they meet an empath, something changes, because an empath doesn't push, doesn't demand, doesn't threaten their independence. They just feel. Their calm energy, their steady presence, their silent understanding, it slips through every defense the avoidant built. At first it feels comforting. The avoidant feels seen, maybe for the first time. They sense a peace in your presence that words can't explain, a stillness that quiets the noise in their mind. But that's exactly what scares them, because for someone who's spent their life avoiding emotional chaos, real intimacy feels like danger. The calmness you bring exposes how stormy they are inside, and suddenly they're not in control anymore. They start to feel emotions they've buried for years: tenderness, longing, even love. And that kind of feeling terrifies them, because love, to an avoidant, is not safety, it's risk. It's the risk of losing control, so they pull away. They convince themselves it's too much, too intense, too fast, but deep down they're not running from you, they're running from what you awakened inside them. Your empathy didn't just touch them, it disarmed them, and when someone experiences true emotional safety, they can never go back to emptiness. Even after distance, they'll remember that feeling, the warmth of your calm tone, the way your energy grounded theirs. It's not your words that echo, it's your presence that lingers. You became the emotional reference point, the before and after in their heart. Before you controlled, detached, numb; after you, aware, alive, shaken. And that shift doesn't fade easily, because once someone feels safe enough to drop their armor, every attempt to put it back on feels heavier. That's why avoidants often appear cold after they pull away. They're not cold, they're confused. They're trying to suppress something that can't be suppressed anymore. And that inner conflict between the comfort they felt and the fear they still carry is what keeps your energy alive in their memory. They may block, ignore, distract, or even pretend to move on, but none of that changes one truth: they can run from contact, not from connection. They can erase messages, but they can't unfeel what you made them feel. The second reason avoidants can't forget an empath's energy is this: your presence regulated the chaos inside them. Avoidants live in a constant state of emotional survival. Their minds are always calculating, anticipating, protecting themselves from hurt they've long learned to expect. Their hearts are cautious, and their nerves are on alert, ready to flee at the first sign of intensity. But then something happens when they meet an empath. Somehow, silently, effortlessly, your energy begins to soothe them. Around you, their nervous system finally relaxes. The tension in their shoulders softens, the rapid thoughts in their minds slow down, the constant inner alarm that tells them to escape fades, if only for a moment. For the first time, silence doesn't feel cold. It doesn't feel like distance or rejection. It feels like safety. Not the kind of safety someone builds with control or rules, but the quiet, grounding presence that comes from being truly understood. And that's when the magic, and the danger for them, begins. Because avoidants are not used to comfort that doesn't demand. They are not used to stillness that doesn't irritate or trap. They are not used to someone's presence making life feel lighter rather than heavier. Your energy, your calm, your consistent empathy became their anchor. Even if they pulled away, even if they convinced themselves it was too much, their body remembered. The mind can rationalize, dismiss, or rewrite experiences, but the body doesn't lie. The heart remembers the rhythm of safety you gave. The nervous system remembers the stillness you offered. The soul remembers a space where control wasn't required, and love wasn't conditional. And this is exactly why avoidants chase distractions. They try new experiences, new people, new habits, anything to fill the void your energy left, but nothing matches it. Nothing replicates the way your presence calmed their chaos. No logic, no explanation, no fleeting attention can substitute for the deep unspoken peace they felt with you. It's almost addictive, in a way they cannot admit, not because of obsession, but because your energy made them feel alive in ways their structured life never could. Even when they walk away, that memory lingers, subtle, haunting, persistent. They may tell themselves they've moved on. They may avoid thinking about you. They may even convince themselves they no longer care. But inside, somewhere beneath the walls, the defenses, the excuses, your calm energy continues to echo. It whispers a truth they can't escape. The chaos they've lived with all their life can never truly be tamed, except in your presence. That's why, even in distance, your energy remains unforgettable. They chase distractions, they run from connection, they hide behind independence, but no matter what they do, nothing feels like the stillness you gave them. The third reason avoidants can't forget an empath's energy is this: you reflected their hidden self. Avoidants are masters of control. They carefully build walls around their hearts, shaping the world in ways that keep them safe from the chaos of emotional vulnerability. To most people, they appear confident, composed, untouchable, but behind that carefully curated exterior lies a part of themselves they rarely allow anyone to see, the part that longs, that hopes, that wants to love, but is terrified of being hurt. When you came into their life, something subtle yet profound happened. Your presence didn't force them to open up, and it didn't pressure them to perform. Instead, your energy reflected the part of themselves they had hidden for so long. The quiet, patient empathy you exuded acted like a mirror, one that didn't judge, didn't demand, didn't question, but simply showed them who they really were beneath the walls. For the first time, they saw their vulnerability not as a weakness, but as a possibility. They felt their desire to connect, to trust, to be seen, and it was safe to acknowledge it because of you. And that realization, that awakening, is terrifying for an avoidant, because they are used to hiding from themselves, convincing themselves that detachment is protection. But you shattered that illusion without even trying. When they look back, they don't just remember you, they remember the version of themselves that only existed when you were around, the one who allowed themselves to hope, to feel, to be intimate without fear of judgment. You became more than a presence in their life, you became a reflection of their own heart. And this reflection is powerful. It lingers long after words are forgotten, long after messages go unanswered, long after distance has been created, because the part of them that was awakened by you cannot be erased. It's impossible for them to go back to being fully guarded, without feeling the absence of what you helped them see, their own capacity to love and be loved. That's why forgetting you feels like losing a piece of themselves. It's not just your energy they crave, it's the awareness of who they are when they're near you. Your calm, empathic presence allowed them to drop their defenses, and that freedom leaves a mark that time cannot erase. Even if they try to move on, Even if they convince themselves they no longer care, deep inside, the memory of that reflection remains. It lingers in quiet moments, in the pauses of their day, in the thoughts they tell no one. And that is why an avoidant may appear detached or indifferent, yet they can never truly forget the energy of someone who showed them their hidden self, because to forget you would mean to deny the part of themselves they discovered with you. And that is a truth no avoidant can ignore. They can hide, they can run, they can distract themselves endlessly, but they cannot erase what you revealed, the part of their heart that dared to feel, dared to hope, dared to be truly alive. The fourth reason avoidants can't forget an empath's energy is this: your absence exposes their truth. Avoidants are experts at maintaining distance, at running from emotions they cannot manage. They convince themselves that they need space, that solitude will bring clarity, that distance is protection, and for a while it works. They walk away, they retreat, they hide behind walls of logic and self-preservation. But here's the secret they can't escape. When you stop chasing, when you finally step back and let them have their space, something extraordinary happens. The silence becomes a mirror. Suddenly they're confronted with themselves. All the defenses they meticulously built crumble in the quiet. The calm and peace they thought they wanted in isolation starts to feel like emptiness. And that emptiness is jarring, because for the first time they notice what they're truly missing. It's not your presence they miss. It's not even the attention or the words. It's the energy, the calm, empathic, grounding energy that reflected who they could be when they were safe enough to feel. It's the mirror of themselves that they can't escape. And that's when the realization hits, sharp, undeniable. They never actually wanted distance from you. They wanted distance from their own emotions. They wanted to avoid the vulnerability, the depth, the intensity that your energy naturally stirred within them. They wanted to hide from themselves, but in the stillness of your absence, that hiding no longer works. Their mind tries to rationalize, their ego tries to distract, their habits try to numb the ache, but your energy has already planted a seed. They can't unsee it, can't unknow it, can't erase it from their memory. Your calm, your presence, your quiet understanding has left a mark, a truth they cannot ignore, and the longer they are away, the louder that truth becomes. Every distraction feels hollow. Every new connection feels flat. The chaos they thought they sought to escape begins to echo the peace they left behind. They realize that running wasn't about leaving you, it was about leaving the part of themselves that dared to feel alive around you. And here's the suspenseful truth. It's too late, because your energy has already done its work. It has left an imprint they cannot erase. Even in distance, in silence, in avoidance, that energy lingers. It shapes their thoughts, their dreams, their regrets. It quietly reminds them of a depth of feeling they cannot replicate anywhere else. This is why avoidants never truly forget an empath, because absence doesn't erase the connection, it exposes the truth, and truth, once seen and felt, leaves a permanent mark on the heart. The final truth about why avoidants can't forget an empath's energy lies in the lasting power of that energy itself. An empath's energy doesn't simply fade with time or distance. It doesn't vanish when words stop being spoken, messages go unanswered, or walls go back up. Instead, it transforms. It becomes something almost intangible yet profoundly undeniable, a memory they revisit in the quiet corners of their mind, a presence they feel when no one else is around, a calm they unconsciously search for in every new connection. Think about it. Avoidants are used to detachment, to distance, to controlling everything within their reach. They are rarely exposed to depth without fear, but an empath's energy is different. It doesn't demand, it doesn't cling, it doesn't manipulate, it simply exists as truth, safety, and presence. And that is exactly what makes it unforgettable. You were never unforgettable because of what you said, what you did, or even the attention you gave. You were unforgettable because of what you made them feel when they thought they couldn't feel at all. You awakened parts of their heart they had long suppressed without ever forcing them to confront it. You became the silent proof that vulnerability could be safe, that closeness could be grounding, that connection didn't always have to hurt. And even as they distance themselves, even as they pretend they've moved on, your energy remains alive in their subconscious. They might try to rationalize it, fill it with distractions, or convince themselves that they no longer care. But those quiet moments, the pauses in their day, the sudden pangs of nostalgia, the brief memories that surface unexpectedly, remind them of what they once had, and what they lost. They feel the calm they once knew, and it awakens a longing they can't fully ignore. That's why avoidants can be so unpredictable. They forget faces, they forget words, they forget gestures, but they cannot forget the energy that healed them, that made them feel safe, that showed them what being truly seen felt like. It lingers in ways they can't articulate, in moments they can't control, and in reflections they don't always understand. And that is the paradox of avoidance. They crave freedom, they fear depth, yet they remain bound to the energy that reminded them of their own hidden capacity to love and be loved. So if you've ever questioned why they appear cold, distant, or indifferent, remember this: it's not because your impact was small, it's because your presence was profound, it's because your energy worked in ways words never could. And that is the final truth about avoidance. They may forget faces, they may forget dates, they may forget conversations, but they can never forget the energy that healed them, the energy that transformed their inner world, and the energy that left a mark on their heart they cannot erase. That's why your calm, empathic, unwavering presence is forever unforgettable.